DJ Burns at NC State and Zach Edey as you watch them. The three best teams I've seen, or three of the four left, they just go through bigs. And there's this feeling that Zach Edey doesn't move laterally, but I look around and AD for a couple years, everybody's like convinced, go outside and shoot. And he's like, yeah, you're not very good at it. And he's decided, I'm going to go closer to the rim. He's having an unbelievable 18-month stretch where he has embraced being a big and getting away from the three-point shot. And I look at Zach Edey, and I'm like, I never bought into the small ball. I just thought the Warriors had Steph and Clay and brilliant coaching, and it's like everybody tried to duplicate it. But the best guard right now in the league is arguably Luka, 6'7". The best guard ever is Magic, 6'8". The best three ever is big, sturdy LeBron. Like, size matters, I'm sorry. When I watch these big men in college crushing, is it just because they don't have any real competition, or is there a renaissance back to bigs?
No, I believe there's a renaissance in the NBA when it comes to bigs, but it's mobile bigs and it's athletic, skilled bigs. And certainly Zach Edey is skilled, but he's not particularly mobile. I believe that what has made him so dominant, and DJ Burns with North Carolina State and Klingon with UConn, is the fact that they're just so rare. So when you're in a situation like March Madness in particular, where you're playing one game and you've never played, for the most part, better part of your season, you're not playing against bigs like that. You don't know how to, forget about post offense, you don't know how to play post defense. You don't know how to defend against those guys in a one game do or die situation. And that's what has made them so lethal. I don't believe that it is going to transform what the NBA is doing. The NBA is supersized, but it's a small ball style that's just been supersized. Now to your point, like, everybody's just added a couple inches, but we're still playing more of a drive and kick, shoot from the perimeter. I mean, some of the numbers are just outrageous in terms of how it's become either everything at the rim or beyond the three-point arc. And I would say with AD, he's not playing as a classic big. He's playing as a rim runner and a guy who's playing off LeBron, diving to the basket. The post game, for the most part, the only time we see it is when you're going to find a small forward like LeBron, or point forward, who's operating from that mid post area. But even that, in those situations, they're operating from the mid post as to getting down on the block and working from there.
You've been connected to the Warriors for a long time, and I was saying at any one time in my life, there's been really only one great team in the league, and then about four teams that can challenge them. In Jordan's era, the Blazers, the Sonics, the Knicks, they were good teams. The Bulls were great. Yeah. And so I think Denver has a chance to be great. Boston maybe, but it's a lot of good teams. The West isn't loaded. It's just loaded it's got more quality. And I look at the Warriors and the Lakers down at the bottom of it, and I'm like, those are pretty good teams. But I would trust the Lakers more because I do think they have size. And I do think AD is playing the best basketball of his career. I kind of bought into the Warriors, and then there was a disruption, and, and Draymond's gone, and I thought they were bridging it. And big picture, this is not a championship team. They don't match up, I don't think, with the Lakers. They don't match up with Denver's size. Where are the Warriors right now?
Are you saying that the Lakers are a championship team?
I think when Jared Vanderbilt comes back and D'Lo playing as well as he has since December, Austin Reeves now a fourth scoring option, I think they match up pretty well with everybody.
Yeah. I am getting the vibe from the Los Angeles Lakers that they feel like the bubble team. They feel like a team that is coming on at the right time, or even to a certain extent last year's team that went to the conference finals. And while they didn't make any dramatic changes at the trade deadline, it does feel like the pieces are coming together and they understand their roles. And I would say that is the greatest distinction between the Lakers and the Warriors right now, is that Steve Kerr has continued to try to shuffle the deck to find the best combinations that he can from this group. And he's found a few things, but it hasn't been necessarily consistent. And I'll say at the heart of it is your star players are not playing like team-carrying star players at this point. Steph is still putting up numbers, but he hasn't had those just phenomenal games and phenomenal performances. You can see it in his shooting percentages. And the ankle injury probably had an effect on it, but everything is down since he missed those 5 games with the ankle. Conversely, you've got LeBron and AD, and primarily AD, and it's that nucleus that just, they are playing together as well as I've seen them play, and the rest of the team can play off of that nucleus. I don't know exactly what the nucleus is for the Warriors. It used to be Steph, Clay, and Dre, and now I would say it's probably Steph and Dre. But at this point, those two haven't been necessarily consistent, and I see that as the big difference between the Warriors and the Lakers. I picked the Warriors, and looking at all the play-in teams, we were looking at Dallas, Phoenix, Warriors, and Lakers. I thought the Warriors had the best chance to make a run because we hadn't yet seen their potential. But now I'm beginning to think that maybe that potential simply isn't as high as I thought it was.
By the way, you've always been willing to be critical of LeBron. He actually, as he's aged, Blake Griffin moved into jumpers more than finishing at the rim. Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, the Gasols. I mean, LeBron this year he's always had a weird relationship with a three-pointer, and I thought this year he's like, I'm shooting it. I don't get past people as consistently. And it's like, oh, he's good at that too. How do you look at his three-point shooting? I always thought he had kind of a love-hate relationship. He wanted to shoot more, but he was never truly great at it. And then all of a sudden this year it just popped. Are you surprised it's popped?
A little bit, and even in this last game, if you watch the shots that he took and how he took them, it's not the greatest of forms. He's always leaning one way or the other. That's a pretty standard. That's a nice shot. He has the advantage of he's generally guarded by bigs who are not going to come out and contest that shot. So it's not like Steph or even Luka to a certain extent, who you feel like, I got to get out on this guy and put some pressure on him, otherwise he's going to knock it down. They still give that to him as opposed to having him just run his way to the rim. So what I see about LeBron is that when he's feeling it and he's knocked a couple down early and the game isn't on the line, he's going to milk that thing for all it's worth, and he's going to knock them down. What I still see is, in big moments, if he hasn't shot the ball well early, he's not looking for that shot, or he doesn't shoot it with confidence. And that's the one question I have. Is he ready to jump that gap when we get to the postseason? And let's say he's 2 for 8 going into the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left and they need a 3. Is he willing to take that shot, take it with confidence, and knock it down? I haven't seen that consistently in big moments in big games. He's going to find some other way, or he's going to try to create a 3 for D'Lo or one of their other three-point shooters. So that's the little gap there. Look, and LeBron said it. What I really admire is he looks at the game and goes, how can I exploit the way they're calling it, the way they're playing it, the way the rules are set? And he's done that as well as anybody, maybe in the history of the game.
Finally, I said when Luka came out, about 2 years into his game, I said he's going to end up a top 5 scorer ever. He's sort of Carmelo Anthony with a more refined game, better range. I don't know if I'm getting anything on the other end. I don't know if his teams will succeed in the playoffs. I don't know if he's the greatest teammate. But buckets, this is Melo with a three-point shot. Like, you're just going to get a lot of points. I have my doubts. When people fell in love with James Harden, I'm like, you can't have the ball that much in your hands. You can't always be. They got to find guys who can do. He's got to find somebody where he can be off ball much more. Maybe it is Kyrie, and he's got to be talked into it. What do you make of Luka, Dallas? They're hot playoffs. What do you make of it?
Let's first of all look when they won 11 out of the last 12. I think they've won 7 in a row. They're on a streak. You have to look at who they've played, and overall, they've beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. They will dominate, and they'll beat a good team here and there, but by and large, they've done most of their damage against inferior teams. And what I liked about the beginning of this season is that Luka's usage percentage and his willingness to give it up early was more prominent. And of late, they've gone back to being more Luka-centric, which in some ways, if Tim Hardaway Jr. is struggling and they're not getting enough from Derek Lively and some of the other pieces, I can totally understand why you would go that direction. But it is not, to your point, it is not a recipe for success in the postseason. They either have to get the talent, and I think Luka has the ability to play off the ball or distribute, but you've got to have the talent that convinces him, I need to give the ball up more, I need to share it more. Until that happens, I don't see the Mavericks contending for a title. I believe that Luka can take them there, but the rest of that supporting cast has to be raised to the level that he trusts it.
Covering the league since '93. Good seeing you, buddy. Ric Bucher. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.